right, hello and welcome everyone. This is Gillman and Zack, and this week we are playing Monster Hunter. I keep wanting to say like Freedom or something, but it's Monster Hunter Stories 2,
Yeah,
Wings of Ruin.
we are from MyGamer.com, and I did not play the first Monster. What's different with Monster Hunter Stories as opposed to Freedom or Unite or
Okay,
you
so
know
story. So have you played a Monster Hunter ever?
we've streamed like all of
Okay.
them because I know you've gotten like all of them. You've
Yeah,
had
I
all of
own pretty much every Monster
them.
Hunter.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and my biggest disappointment in life was that the MMO never came out in states. Um,
What was the one on Wii? Wasn't that an MMO?
no, no,
Try, try,
no, that was not an MMO. The MMO was an actual. So they're
actual
all
MMO.
kind of like up to four players can play at
Yeah,
once.
that's what I was.
Um, and the MMO was an actual MMO. Like there were
Okay.
people like with a subscription fee and all of that stuff.
Ah.
Um, it has since ceased function. It was an older MMO.
Mhm.
Maximum most of those, if you're not WoW or like Final Fantasy 14, you only really get like a maximum of 10 years. And that's optimistic.
Mhm.
And that one came out with like the Xbox 360. I mean, most
Mhm.
MMOs only last like 2 or so years, so saying that one of them lasted as long as that, it was pretty successful. Um, it never left Japan though.
I'm curious though because I've seen, we've played so many Monster Hunters. I've never played them myself. I actually think that I would really like these games. You party up with a few people. I think they would actually be a lot of fun. Not that I have anything against it by any
They
means,
can
but
also be
w-
extremely frustrating if you're partying with randoms though,
yeah,
because it's just like any game that you get a bunch of random people together. You're just sort of like, you fucking suck and you've dragged the entire team down.
yeah, I want to go over here, but you want to go over here, but we need
Well,
to
you
work together
can,
to kill this thing.
yeah, you can go to different areas. You don't have to be in a party like constantly. Uh, but if you're working together with a team, and it's like four people, so sometimes it'll be shit like you'll work together with a team and you'll have like you and two other people, and then like a fourth person will finally drop in and they're fucking awful, and you can only die like three times total on a hunt until it's just like, yeah, no, you're done, and it kicks you back. So like you'll be doing relatively well with these two other people, and then another person will come in and just like not know what the fuck they're doing, and that's really frustrating. So Monster Hunter is your gear is basically your level. It's one of those RPGs that there's no experience or anything really like that. So you hunt a lot of monsters, you build better gear to get better stats, and that's sort of how the level progression sort of works on that. Uh, it's really interesting. I like the Monster Hunter games quite a lot. Um,
The
the
stories here, I can't help but notice that the battles though are turn-based.
This
It's
is
not
a
real time.
full RPG
Uh,
with
yeah.
levels. You do get better equipment and everything like that. Um, and it's a full RPG. So when people were trying to sell me on the original Monster Hunter, I kind of thought it would be more like this, or at least an action RPG with actual levels to it. But this is more of a straight up traditional um, RPG.
So
So
that's going to be the big difference is the traditional RPG versus the action oriented.
the action oriented, everything, the only thing that matters at any point is your gear. So
Okay.
and as you can see, every time I defeat a monster, there are drop, like they don't drop money, but what they do drop is like skin, like you skinned it or something, and like the monster's teeth and bones and stuff, and you can use all of that to craft new items.
Yeah, that's what Monster Hunter is big with. Is
Yeah,
you go
crafting.
out, you kill some dudes, and then you take that loot to craft better crap to go kill bigger dudes.
Yep, that's pretty much the game loop.
Yeah.
And this is it's fine. It's fun. It's a lot of it's a solid RPG, but it's definitely um I do like the core Monster Hunter more. It does one of the things that I'm not a huge fan of in RPGs. Um Basically every monster you encounter you can use as like something to fight with.
Hmm.
So I'm switching out a monster here so I can fight with like you find the monster's eggs and you can fight with those guys once you
Okay.
raise them. Which it's a nifty idea, but it does kind of make it's like Pokemon sort of that it's Hunter Pokemon is a pretty accurate description.
Oh, okay.
Um, it
So do you have to weaken the monsters to like capture them, or you just
no
catch them
you
all?
find like their nest and you grab an egg.
Okay, so you have to steal the babies,
You
is
steal the
kidnap,
babies and then you have to raise them in
and then you raise
captivity.
them as your own
Yep.
to
Abs.
fight gruesome battles. That sounds
Yeah,
how
it's
this game is not a mature 18 and older game.
because you're making it sound way more awful than it does. Um, it's
That's what I like to do.
yeah. Well, it's what everyone does when they're when you play a game for a couple hours, you come up with this like really fucking weird backstory. Um,
Do you know what the amiibo do in this game? Because there
I
was three, and I saw that because they're GameStop exclusive. I could have bought them, if I
yeah,
saw
aren't
like
they
right when they went up.
expensive?
Yeah, that was the thing is they were all like 20,
But they're big,
20
right?
to
They're
20.
bigger
Yeah,
than normal.
yes, yes. Like one of them, the big, was it Wrathwing? If it came
Raytheon.
with the Wraith. Yeah, if you bought the limited edition version of the game, he came in it by default, but you could buy it solo. And then there was the two others, like some chick, and then like the feline cat thing. And then, but they were all like 22.99 or something like that. The big one had like a little bit, was like 24.99. The others were like 22.99.
Yeah,
So I don't know what they do or like why you would need them, but they're
I don't know
unique out
what
of the
they do.
scheme.
There's a guy that you can talk to that does the DLC stuff. That
Oh, okay.
one of the options is scan amiibo,
Oh, okay.
and I haven't really looked into it because, in all honesty,
Yeah.
uh, both you and I kind of fell out of the amiibo craze pretty
Yeah.
hard.
I got a feeling it's going to be one of those things where, okay, you can scan it every 24 hours and get a bonus item. You
But
can't like milk it.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I know that
Yeah.
people are pissed over the Skyward Sword amiibo
Yeah,
because
that comes out on Friday at the time of this stream. But yeah, that amiibo's $25.
it's expensive and the
And
functionality
yeah,
that it adds to the game is
it should
the
just be there.
yeah it's basically a shortcut to the world map.
Yeah, you just
And
can warp anywhere you want.
yeah, you just warp to the like it would be like warping out of a dungeon in like Wind Waker. It's like warping out of a dungeon and getting
Yeah.
back on your boat.
Yep.
And that was like one of the big complaints is that the areas you go to are really big, and you can in only very select areas can you actually mount your bird and fly. Go to the world map and fly around. And that was one of the complaints about it.
Yep.
And everyone's like, yeah, this completely solves that entire issue, but it's behind a paywall. And it's like, yeah, well, that's what people have been bitching about with amiibos for fucking years now, though, because they did
And
that with the Metroid Samus Returns thing too.
I gotta, like people are gonna bitch about it, but here's the thing: you're not gonna be able to find one anyway because Nintendo likes to make four amiibo of
Yeah,
everything, and
yeah.
then people just scout. So it's like, yeah, it would be cool, and it should just be there. I totally get it. Like I played it, I beat Skyward Sword on Wii. Honestly, I didn't think it was like. I mean, it's still a good game. Like there's really
I
not a
hear
bad
people
Zelda game,
sing the fucking
but
praises of Skyward
it's
Sword.
it's like I have no will or desire to go back and replay it again on Switch. Zero. Like I'd rather go back and play Wind Waker again. Now, when Wind Waker got re-released on the Wii U, I bought it, super excited about it, but I could not play it because the fuckers did not implement a invert camera option.
Oh
So you
yeah.
cannot invert and so I'm like, this game is literally unplayable for me. I cannot do this. So I would go back and play Wind Waker, sure, no problem. Everybody can go back and play, a couple hours of Ocarina of Time, sure. I replayed Majora's Mask on 3DS as well, but Skyward Sword, like it'll be one of those things where it's like in 3 years when Nintendo has a greatest hits compilation and the game goes down to like $20 to $30, and then it's buy two get one free, then I'll just pick it up out of just because it's a Zelda game. But I have no will to replay it at all. I beat it once on Wii, I'm done.
Yeah, I never beat it, and one of the reasons I never beat it is it was a later gen Wii title, so it required the Motion Plus,
Yes.
and had a Wii since launch, and it was one of those things that it was just I refused to buy another fucking controller for like one game because it was the
Yeah.
only real game that fucking required Motion Plus.
Yeah, that and then Wii Sports Resort, if you that which came
Yeah.
bundled with the thing, which is just Wii Sports 2 essentially.
And
But
my
yeah,
favorite argument against the Motion Plus was, cool, it's the functionality you originally promised us when this thing came out.
yeah, that you should have had.
That it should have just been included, and it took you like 3-4 years to actually come up with this.
Yeah, I mean, do you think you're gonna? I mean, my thing with Skyward Sword is you can't, like, every place you go is a level, is like a dungeon. So, for example, like just walking through the forest to get to the temple. This is like pretty. I forget that, like Faron Forest or whatever it was, Faron. Maybe I'm getting that wrong, but anyway, just to get to the temple you got to walk through the forest, fight all the Blobokins, but the forest itself is a dungeon because you got to like hit this switch, you got to swing over here, you got to make this platform appear. So you can't just kind of like walk from point A to point B. You have to like complete a whole bunch of puzzles to get anywhere. And I kind of didn't like that. Like imagine if you were playing like, Link to the Past and just instead of just walking around the dark world, like to walk to get to that to get to the next pendant or the next crystal is you got to go through another temple to essentially get there. And I didn't like that. Like I thought it lost a lot of like the free flowing,
Yeah,
just kind of walk around, maybe get. I mean, you can kind of do that after the fact, but I don't know. That was my gripe
that's
with
one of the reasons I didn't actually like Wind Waker, is that the open world just seems so fucking empty. It was just
Oh
ocean,
yeah.
is all it was.
That's yeah, a lot of people did not like just kind of sailing between all the islands. Like if you could have like instantly warped, that would have like sped up the game considerably, sure. But so yeah, I kind of get that, but with that Wind Waker gripe, I've heard that, but that's my Skyward Sword is I
And
just want to
yeah,
like
so
kind of
it
walk
sort of
around.
sounds like Skyward Sword fucking had the same issue, that the open world is just.
S- Yes, in meaning that it can be tedious. Like I just want to kind of walk around and enjoy the world. I don't really want to like complete a puzzle right now. Like let me save that for the dungeon.
I mean, the best
Uh,
part of fucking, you know, Ocarina of Time and I'm trying to think of Twilight Princess was the open world itself and just wandering around and finding shit in the open world. And
yeah,
it just
yeah,
kind of
exactly.
felt like after Twilight Princess, they took the open world away until the uh whatever the newest one was for the Switch.
Breath of the
Breath of the
Wild,
Wild,
yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
That's where that's yeah, that's one of the reasons why like I I kind of like Breath of the Wild because you can just get lost just walking like, oh, what's over here? What's over here? Oh, wait, I got to go over here now. And like, that's the mystery. And there was none of that really in Skyward Sword. Every place was its own dedicated
Yeah,
level.
and I can definitely remember poking around in Twilight Princess and just find it being like, oh shit, there's like a heart container here. That's fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. I want to find a big thing of rupees, like
Yep.
all that was kind of gone. I don't know. I thought I lost a little something there, but
So, what do you think about Monster Hunter Stories?
I mean, if me, this is just me speaking here, but if I was going to play a Monster Hunter game, I would want to go back and play one of the action games versus this. Not that this is bad, but I like the idea of me linking up with a few friends and then taking down a huge boss,
So, I
quasi
think you
MMO.
can link up with friends in this because it has the monster cards. But
Yeah, I'm talking real time. You know,
I
I want to
understand.
hit the A
Yeah.
button and swing, but versus like, I think this might be a very interesting RPG, right? Monster,
Yeah.
because Monster Hunter Stories. I like the idea that Capcom went above and beyond and created Amiibo. But to me, I would rather, because since I'm new to the series, I haven't dove in yet. I would want to play the action ones first, see how I like them, and then
Yeah.
eventually graduate to
This
this to
is
see.
almost like a fucking love letter to people who enjoy the series. Like I think you could enjoy this if you've never played the series, but if you're really into Monster Hunter, there's more for you here, kind of thing.
And wasn't the first Monster Hunter that was on 3DS, wasn't it?
No, first Monster Hunter was on PS2.
No, no, I'm sorry. Monster Hunter Stories is what I meant.
Yes, it was on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Monster Hunter Stories was on 3DS only.
yeah, and it was one of those games that you could get for a song for the excuse me, for the longest time.
Yeah,
It was, dirt cheap, and all of a sudden it just like shot up in price.
yeah. I don't think a lot of people want to play a serious Monster Hunter game looking at a small screen,
Uh
maybe. But now,
Monster
but
Monster Hunter did some of its
yeah,
most
there
successful stuff on the 3DS actually.
and
And
the PSP. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
actually Monster Hunter found its stride for the most part on portable systems. There are people that will straight up say
Yeah.
uh Monster Hunter is only very good on a portable system, that they don't like it
Right.
on consoles.
Hmm. Yeah, I know it was big on PSP, especially in Japan. It was huge, but maybe it just never really caught on in America because I know Monster Hunter Stories was kind of a later 3DS game. So I
Absolutely
wonder,
was, yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people just didn't even bother with it or didn't even know about it because it came out late. I think the Switch was like already out maybe at that point or
I
something.
I wanted to get it, but it was one of those things that Amazon always I had stopped going to GameStop because they're just fuck GameStop.
Yeah.
And Amazon, like, after I want to say like the first or second week, it was all third party sellers. So
Mm.
you could absolutely get the game, but it was always, yeah, sure, we'll get it to you in a month and a half, and it's, then why the fuck am I even ordering it from you?
Yeah, and I think it took advantage of the new 3DS, like with the extra analog stick and the extra shoulder buttons and stuff like that. Like, I
Yeah,
don't think it wasn't required, but I want to
but
say that
yeah.
it had that extra functionality if you had the new system.
All right. So that's us for this week playing
Yeah,
Monster
so
Hunter.
yep, you can check us out at mygamer.com. News, reviews, streams, previews, all that good stuff. If you like anything about games, please check out our site. We are covering the games that nobody else is covering. You could follow me on Twitter at ZackGaz, ZackGaz. And until next time, thank you for watching and game on.